we're going to be focusing on setting yourself up for success in the new year. And this isn't like goal setting. This is more for the functional purposes of these planners and also their aesthetic purpose. I also have some really exciting news. I've been working on a sticker set for everyone for next year. I'll show some work in progress pictures on the screen. Make sure to stay tuned for that. I am doing a elemental fairies theme, although with a little twist. I may go into like goal setting another time, but this is just like purely about the way planners have worked for me. So a little background, this was my first year using the Hobonichi, so this is my current one, or rather my 2025 one. I absolutely loved using this. As you can see, the chunk that it has become, for reference, that's how it starts off as. So the difference is quite big. It just goes to show that I really put in a lot of care and attention into this planner, and I used to use the Muji planners. I used it for like 7, maybe 8 years, I think around that time, and it was such a welcomed change to move into the Hobonichis. I was a bit like unsure initially because of their cost, but I realized that even the high cost like made me feel more accountable to use it every day, and I found that it was quite successful also because this format is really beautiful. Oh, there's a bird on my window. I don't know if you heard the little like pitter patter of the feet. That was really cute. Yeah, so this was so successful for me, and halfway through the year I started my Commonplace hybrid, and these two in combination were so successful. I loved using these two together. So this is functional, and this acts more like a journal, like your traditional journal. This has also amassed quite the size. I still have a tiny bit to go, as you can see here, but I'm quite confident that I'll be able to finish that in by the end of the month. And I also already have the new one for this decorated. I used the same A5 Hobonichi that I cut down to week size, and this time I have this decoration on it. Oh, can you see that? So cute. I got this from an artist. I don't remember her name, but I'll put it on the screen. I did change it a little bit. I added some blush on her cheeks, like in no disrespect to the artist. I just wanted to add a bit of blush because her face was like really pale, and it kind of looked like, in contrast with the yellow of the notebook, it kind of looked a bit sickly. And then I have some recorded, just a bunch of cute things. Yeah, the tying kind of design here is the sugar bunnies, and this kind of blue, green, and yellow. So it's really a continuation of this, which I really enjoyed. So I'll show you some of the things that I was considering of what to bring forward with me into the new year, system-wise. There are some things that I also do like ritually during this transfer period, like transferring key information or like reflections or stuff to keep in mind in the beginning of the new year. Just to help me sort out my thoughts, I wrote some things in my Commonplace hybrid. So as you can see, I did something a bit different than usual. Usually my layouts are like this, which is like a typical Commonplace layout with the small column here and the big column for the body text on the right. But this time, based on my video last time, I tried to do 2 columns, and it's interesting, it gives it like a magazine effect, which is quite nice. Here I played around with more stickers. This is definitely more decoration than I do typically. I was just kind of in the mood for it. So in these entries I kind of explored like what went on this year. Also, I really enjoyed this cover, so I thought I would bring it in because it's a nice visual. One of the things that I absolutely loved about the way that I've done my Commonplace hybrid is that I'm able to keep myself really accountable, because not only is there a record in my planner of what I do on a daily basis, but there's even my thinking behind it. Essentially, the Commonplace notebook acts as phase before setting myself up for success. So it's like the ideas that will help me be successful. I wrote a few bullet points of what I wanted to bring into the new year. I wrote active and soulfully reinforced self-encouragement on a regular basis. This was something that was quite new when I started using this journal system, and it was really thanks to the index that I've made. Being able to track what kind of thought I was having and where my attention is going based on these categories was really helpful for me and helped me like realign my vision. I also came across the 12-week year. I think that's like a really interesting way of breaking it down. Sometimes I can get overwhelmed by the bigger picture of the entire year, and having it broken down into 12 weeks and like 4 of those 12-week segments seems a lot more manageable to me. I don't know if you guys have tried that system. Let me know if it's good. This year I didn't use the My 100, but I had an idea inspired by Helen from the Coffee Monsters Co. to write 100 reasons to keep going. So this is the My 100 page on the weeks. But for me, it'll be more the why of it all instead of just like to keep going. And on top of motivation, like momentum is really important in this case. So I think having it written down at the back would be really useful next year. And then the next one was holding myself accountable in creating my own happiness and maintaining my health. Yes, accountability is important, but if I make it too much of a task, then my drive to do it isn't as strong as opposed to just doing it for the sake of like knowing why I have a reason. So we'll see how that goes. I also like learned about this thing called the GPS theory, which is really cute. It's not been an easy year, but it's also a year that I felt really grateful, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. Is basically the lesson of 2025 for me. I felt like it was in my best interest to constantly reroute and try different things, and I think that in itself, like making changes is success, or at least to me. I find it successful to just doing your best. So that's the theory moving into here. So in this year's planner, I've been doing this thing since I've been using the Muji planners. I've been placing a little envelope at the front, and in here I would write either 3 keywords to focus on for that year, or a little letter to myself, especially in adult life where you don't have academic validation or validation from your peers. It's really, a lot of it is really self-driven, and I think it's really important to have that at the forefront of our mind to keep us grounded. So I did the same thing this year, or this upcoming year. You would have probably seen my TikTok about this. I made this envelope with a cream and pink theme, which is cute. And I've got like this sticker here and this holographic Chicoas in the back. Really cute. I also considered using these indexes, but guys, when I put it down, I immediately became overwhelmed. It is so nice to see it in this format, like all these colors, but having it actually on the planner, it just overwhelmed me so much. I'm gonna stick to these 4 segments. These are the index point sticky notes that I've placed in here. I just found it way too overwhelming to have like every month written down. I guess that's in alignment with being overwhelmed with the idea of an entire year. So I've made it simple for myself. I have like this tab for the monthly layout, this for the weekly, Back here I have the beginning of the notes page. Oh, I'm not sure why that one is there. And this one for, oops. It's like the favorites, the extra pages in the back. I still intend to put photographs all throughout like the front and back, because I think it's really sweet to have like happy moments at the forefront of the planner, especially because this is functional. It helps like soften the intensity of all of the day-to-day to-do writing. Yeah, so that's where I'm at. For this one, there's literally nothing besides a few stickers going on. It is plain, but it will be the same system as my current hybrid. If you want some stickers for next year, be sure to check that out. And I'll see you next week. Bye bye!